What's up, Dad?
What's up, Dad? What's up? What's up, Dad? What's up?
You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it.
What's up, dads? It is hump day, and we're back at it with episode number 2. I have a pretty special guest today. I really wanted to start this off with a pretty phenomenal guest. We have a great grandfather on the podcast today, Mr. Jeff Matthews.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. Want to see where it goes.
Perfect. When I mentioned this podcast was going to be off the cuff, I wasn't sure how he was going to take it. So we had a little get together today, and he came in the house. And I said, "Hey, we're going to record a podcast." So good luck. How'd that make you feel?
I'm all right. Let me fill you in a little bit about me. I'm 76 years old. Grew up around the Akron area, and just a regular guy. A lot involved with music, opera, sports. Been married for 46 years, I think. I was called to Christian ministry at age 21 and did 45 years of it. And now I'm retired and living in a condo in Westerville, Ohio. And that's enough for you to know.
I'm sure we'll find out some more here soon, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, today's an interesting day. So before we hop into the true topic, you guys are probably wondering why I named this episode "Have You Lost It?" We were going back and forth between "Have you lost it?" or "Does it still work?" My wife thought "Does it still work?" probably would be a fun one. However, "Have you lost it?" fits it better. So today is actually
a lot of questions about does it still work. Yes.
That's true. So today actually would be my brother's birthday, believe it or not. March 4th. He was born March 4th of 88. So my mom said early in the morning, that's when he was born. So we're going to go with that. And, it makes today a difficult day, to hop on here because I realize that I'm never going to get to do a podcast with him. Another dad, a father, godparent of any capacity. Maybe one day he'd be a great-grandfather, a grandfather like Mr. Matthews here. And
can you call me Jeff?
Okay. All right. I always do that. So, but, without bringing up too much and getting too much into that, we're going to hop into, physically today's episode. So, I wanted to ask you, can you give me, what do you think the definition is or the difference between knowledge and wisdom is? Got anything on that?
I'm just off the top of my head. Knowledge is book learning, training. I have a Master of Divinity degree. But I know some people who didn't make it through grade school who have a lot more wisdom than I do. And I think that's learned. It's infused by circumstances, family background, the pros and cons of decisions that have been made. And some people have flourished with that, and some have really had a rough time.
So do you think this definition fits exactly what you're talking about? Knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad.
I've heard that before. I don't know if I believe that, but
wait a minute. You put tomatoes in a fruit salad?
Well, I've never tried it.
Well, me either. Maybe we'll have to. So, just realize that lots of people seek knowledge, right? It's like you talk about your masters in divinity and having that stuff, and you're watching TV. You're trying to put stuff in your life like a book, TV, things to gain knowledge. But at the end of the day, fewer people gain wisdom, right? If knowledge is knowing a bunch of stuff, wisdom is being able to retain and implement that stuff in practical applications.
Right. I am in a wonderful situation of leading two men's groups every week for the last 12 years. Monday with the condo group and Friday with the church group. And it's just amazing what, 12 or 14 guys in each of these groups can do as they come together. Last week we talked about war and draft numbers and Vietnam, which was when we first started these groups, one of them had 6 World War II veterans, and all of them have died now. But just bringing out the memories, the ugly part, but everybody has developed their own type of wisdom that gets them through. We've got college professors, we've got guys that are diesel mechanics, guys that have lived out of the country, and we put us all together and we just talk about life as walking through life right now, where we are. And maybe that's what you can do with a dad's group, is find friends, say what's going on, where you're having difficulties, and where you're just loving life.
And at the end of the day, that's the goal here. It's to provide all that. And you said a word there, memories. You said something, and you mentioned that again, guys. I'm going to let you know this is completely off the cuff. He has no idea, and anybody that plans to be on this, you have no idea what's coming, and it's amazing that him leading segue into today's topic. Have you lost it? And
now you promised me $400.
400.
Yeah.
You're shooting low there. I think I'd have started at like $1,000. I'm just saying. So, a couple questions I wanted to ask you before we get into the real meat and potatoes of today's topic. What is your... Okay, we'll start with this. What does it mean to you being a dad or a father? And a grandfather?
I come at it from a unique situation. My wife and I got married, and she had 3 children, and so I became the stepfather and a well-loved father for those 3, but have never had any children of my own. My dad came from England when he was 17, and as we walked through that marriage situation and he found out that my last name was not going to be perpetuated in America, we talked about it quite a bit. It bothered him. But in the end, my brother did the same thing in marrying somebody who had children. And I don't know where else I want to go with that.
Well, I mean, I think I can understand, right? Like, you bring a pretty interesting piece to the table. Right. When I brought this podcast up, I thought, man, I don't want to exclude people, right? Like, I want to include everybody and anybody that can bring something to the table. You have dads, fathers, stepfathers or stepdads. Yeah. You have godparents, you have great-grandfathers and great-great-grandfathers and potentially great-great-great-grandfathers. You have friends that are like, they might not be a godparent, but they are dads to these kids, that don't have, that their dad is not around. And we went over last episode, the difference between a dad and a father, and there's some complexities with that, but the reality of it is, like, that's something that's on your mind. That's something that your dad told you, right? About your name not continuing on. And there's, right. I mean, this is complex right here. This is deep stuff.
Yeah. But I got to live out when I got married. The kids were 11, 13, and 15. So I didn't didn't have the younger ages to interact with kids, but I became the father. But the my wife was kind of the final decision maker with the kids, and that was interesting too. And now we have great relationships with those kids and their kids and their kids, and so it's great that kids have come to me with asking questions, having needs, talking about faith, talking about job decisions, and I really enjoy being an ear that can listen and at times give advice.
And I will tell you, you've given some pretty amazing advice over the years. I'll never forget, you marrying us, Beth and I, almost 10 years ago now. There's been some unbelievable advice I've got from you. So it's much respect for that and much appreciative.
10 years ago?
10 years ago, August.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
Just a couple years.
You were a lot better looking then.
Didn't have bags under my eyes. Didn't look tired. Wasn't moping around. All that good stuff. No, I'm just kidding. So, what's your earliest memory of being a dad and father? Like, what's the first thing you remember? Was Lori? Did she not want Jeff Matthews in her life? Did Gary give you? Was it Gary that gave you a hard time?
This is kind of deep and all, but my wife's marriage was very, very, very challenging, and so I came on as kind of the white knight on the horse, and all three kids seemed to be in favor of it, but I decided to, my first time meeting the kids was to go to SeaWorld. And so I chipped out tons of money a long time ago to go to SeaWorld. And the oldest son just treated me like gold. And the others, they had a headache, they wanted to go home. And my wife just said, well, I'll never see this guy again. And that played out. And then finally, those relationships totally changed with trust. And just, it feels so great to be loved by the three grandkids.
I did not know you took them to SeaWorld the first time.
Yeah, that's when they actually had Shamu. So that was a long time ago.
Just a couple years?
Yeah.
Just a couple years. That's funny. So that's the first time you met them?
Yes.
Wow. How long did you date Joyce prior to that, you think?
That's an interesting story. I met my wife while my divorce was still in process, and it was taking probably 6 months, and I got the inkling that my wife was hinting towards getting married, and we stopped off at a restaurant, and I said, look, I'm just coming out of a divorce. It's going to be 3 years before we get married, or if that happens. And 6 months later, we were married. So I think she won. Well, maybe she won't agree with that, but yeah, it was a real surprise. Yeah.
That's funny. Well, I really appreciate you sharing those memories, those experiences that you have, because, whether that was when Shamu was around or not, there's still dads today that are going to go into the lives of kids that they're not, the quote unquote biological father of, right? And it's one thing where, I know without going into detail, and you haven't, it's like you can't let one situation distract that, right? Like, I mean, looking at you guys today, looking at your relationship with Lori and Vicky and Gary, and I mean, we both can admit it's not all cupcakes and rainbows and everything all the time, right? But you have a relationship, and that's something that after so many years, not every dad or parent says they can have, right? And it's a gift. It's a gift. So
through the pandemic and through the election, some of our family fell apart, and that's been horrible. Never did I ever think that that would happen in a family of mine, and most of it is healed, but one relationship is not, and I believe in. I don't want to say forgiving because I'm not real happy with some of the things I did, but that's been a real pain, and I just don't want to go to my death with having that relationship lost.
sure,
Yeah.
sure. I can imagine. I know I've had tough relationships in my life, and about honestly with one of the topics I wanted to talk about today, being the main topic, have you lost it? So that was the question, right?
Yeah.
And my question revolves around, because this is my brother's birthday, I wanted to talk about, have you lost memories? It's not about it, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's about memories. Like, memories are our lives are made up of what we have with us in the memories that we've made and what we have right now, right? So you have experiences, you have the memories, you have everything, and it sucks because I want to know at your age that I'm still going to have the memories. I'm still going to be able to have those, because I sit here and think to myself, darn, I mean, I try to rack my brain on a regular basis of memories with my brother that I have, or ones that I'm not going to have anymore. Mm-hmm. Or memories, with the kids. There was a TikTok that goes around, and it's talking about the first 4 years of a child.
All right, what's a TikTok?
Oh, we'll get into it in a minute. First 4 years of a child's life are often the hardest, but the most memories happen or can happen during that time. Now, don't get me wrong, we have an eternity of life, it seems like, left with these children, but the reality of it is, like, the first 4 years, there's so much built up there. There's only so many nights you're going to rock these kids to sleep, only so many nights that you're going to be able to do all that stuff. And in the same retrospect, I think about, there's only so many nights I'm going to be able to remember the things that I did or didn't do with my brother, you know what I mean, and these other men and stuff. And
I think one part of advice that I would give, I know there are lots of people who do tracing of family origins. What's that called when they do that?
Like the family tree?
Like a family tree. And my dad was the youngest of 12 kids in England. I have lost all touch with the people in England. And I see on Facebook and stuff families that have really stayed close. And my brother's gone. I'm the only person on my side of the family that's still living that I have contact with. And I regret that. While it was happening, I didn't regret it. But as I've gotten older, I wish I'd stayed in touch. I had two cousins, and one of them got a college degree and was in a pretty nice job in Colorado. The other one lived on the streets in Florida. And the one who lived on the streets in Florida died. and I did the funeral. And the brother told me, he says, I want 10 minutes to talk to people. And he said, my brother and I didn't talk for 14 years. And the argument we had was over my dad's record collection when he died, and we fought over a couple of the recordings. He said that I'll never forgive myself for that. That I lost a relationship with my brother over 5 or 6 records. And it's just not worth it. If we can look at what is talked about in the Christian faith is forgiveness and overlooking problems, I think it can really... I guess I'm saying it would be great to keep in touch with folk. And behind your back, you talk about them like family, but it's great to keep those relationships going. Am I going too far off here?
No. I mean, it's crazy because we talk about family and there's a lot of stuff going around, blood being thicker than water and all these different sayings and stuff, and we're moving into a generation where family is not, in my opinion, I see it, family's not as important as it used to be. I personally think, I think
Absolutely.
I see it.
Absolutely.
And it's a scary, scary thing because, man, I hate to use this advice today, but I feel like that's the advice that I'm going to use so many times. Like, you're not able to rebuild a burnt bridge, right? Like, you can't. There's things that happen that I personally feel you cannot rebuild. It does not matter what people try to do. There's something there, right? And I think in family that happens more often than not. And today we open ourselves up today in today's society and all the stuff, all the social media and all the stuff that we have to do that. And as we talk about being fathers and dads and brothers and all that stuff, this is stuff that occurs, right? Like, absolutely. We cannot open ourselves up for that. And we have to start forgiving earlier. We have to start thinking about our actions earlier, take responsibility of them earlier, because it could be 14 years, like your brother said about your other brother, right? Like, it could be 14 years. I think about my brother, okay? He was an addict. Guys, if you don't know my brother, Justin Thompson, okay, which if you don't know him now, you'll never know him, right? And I say that jokingly. But if you didn't know him, he was an addict. He was an amazing person. My wife would be like, really? How I'd say that? He was, right? He was an idol to me in a lot of different ways. He could hit a baseball a mile, right? Like, I've seen him break baseball bats. He was as strong as an ox. I mean, he was a special, gifted individual. And, to me, an idol of somebody I looked up to. And, you saw that. And I never let his addiction, his depression, his anxiety, and all that stuff burn the bridges between us. And there have been other relationships and stuff that, and people in the past that's occurred with, and unfortunately. But I can tell you, family's different, you know what I mean? And it's one thing I may never see that person again, which is just an acquaintance. But family, you keep seeing them. They keep popping up. Or 14 years later, it happens when they're gone, and you have no chance to come back from that.
Right.
And
as a pastor, I saw that so many times. Somebody's on their deathbed in the hospital, and somebody from 5 states away comes, and the family is astonished. They haven't seen him in 10 years, but the guilt is there, and it just gets ugly, and it's awful.
Yeah,
it's awful.
And I'm sure you see it with parents and kids the most and the deepest. And I feel like, again, in today's society, that's what's happening more and more. We're able to let those things, the things that happen when we're kids, bottle up and affect many years, decades go by before, things get fixed, or even, it could be too late.
I attended a 2-hour seminar at our church 5 years ago, and they invited parents of high school graduates and college students to come and to talk together about how to deal with kids who have left the church. They were in Sunday school. They prayed as a family. They did all the things that the Bible says they'll come back after they've had their time of freedom. And people were just sobbing. They couldn't understand it. And I feel this is happening, obviously, as far as living in the United States, people move further away than they used to. You have 5 or 6 jobs instead of 1 or 2 jobs in your lifetime. And it's as if we tried to instill Christian ethics in a Christian family, and how it's so much harder to answer questions about faith, because you have to take that belief on faith. You can't prove it. And it just destroys folk. And as younger men raising kids, I think those are tough choices. Are you going to take part in the youth basketball league? Are you going to get up on Sunday and get them to church? And those are critical decisions. And now gone through the pandemic and Zooming, where for 8 months, many churches in America were closed. I got used to watching that church service in my I don't wear pajamas, but nobody will hear this, will they?
No, nobody's gonna listen.
But to drink coffee and be able to walk around, and the church I'm in is diminished in attendance by 50%, and don't know if it'll ever come back, and that's really tough, really tough.
It is, and with all the things that are going on, I think about the lost. Back to the topic at hand, the lost memories, the lost experiences that we have, things that you can't get back, and it's frustrating. I at almost 32 years old, I beat myself up. I'm losing memories and opportunity every day. To experience things with my kids, with my wife, with my friends, my business partners, like you name it, and but I'm not beating myself up over it, right? You can only do so much and be so much.
Exactly. That's the thing. In sitting at talk with a couple of pastors from the church, we've got to say this is what it is. We're not going to go back to what was in this present demographic. And so, being 76. We have like a divided congregation. We've got contemporary worship with guitars and new stuff, and we've got, I'm leading a service for older adults, and we're singing the old hymns, and it just shows the division. It just shows the division. And neither one is right.
No.
Neither one is right. It's just, it is what it is.
Hey now. People don't like that statement.
Yeah.
But I think it's fitting for a lot of ways. So that leaves us into, because you say it is what it is, I don't think that's the advice you want to give these people before we hop off today. Because I tell everybody, we are always going to have a piece of advice that you can walk away with no matter what. I could tell you all these other cool things about Jeff, so you know a little bit. He loves the opera. My goodness, the dude can sing. You mind giving us a couple chords on the
Largo factotum dalita, largo, la 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 la, yeah. That's enough.
I love it. I love it. Loves the opera. Yeah. Can sing like no other. Still at his ripe young age of 76. Loves music. He doesn't know what his favorite movie is, so we won't go that far. But he does like Blue Bloods. Okay, the TV show. And the guy is an avid sports watcher. I will tell you, how many TVs you got in your living room?
2
right now.
One above the fireplace and one down below. And I can watch on the bottom one, I'm allowed to watch sports on there if the volume's off. And then we watch the other. And it's a great setup.
But like football season though, I mean, how many TVs you got going on usually?
Well, we can get a third one in there.
You do get a third one in there?
You have to drag it in from the sunroom. But,
but it works. I mean, guy's an avid sports watcher. Here's a little fact that not everybody's going to know. This guy, I didn't know outside people went to these meets, but track meets.
Oh, yeah.
He will go sit all day long for the state track meet, right? It's the state one for Ohio. You've done it every year since I've known you that you've been able to.
Yeah. My athletic career was, how much time have we got?
As much time as you want.
Okay. I went out for football, and the junior year I dressed for the game, and we were called the Cuyahoga Falls Black Tigers. And you ran through the mouth of the big cutout tiger, and I was about 10th in the row and fell down, and 3 guys fell behind me. And that's the best tackles that I ever did in football. On the JV team, I got the lead in the junior class play. My parents went to the coach and said, we think that Jeff would do better at doing drama stuff. And he took me before the team and said, I honor what's going on. And that coach and I stayed in touch for 10 years. Decided to go out for track. I was the 19th shot putter on the team. Honestly, 19th. So that meant for that entire year I got to roll the shot back to the real athletes. So I decided to go out for tennis. I was on the second doubles, and they only played me if there was no way we could lose the match. So I was a great athlete.
It sounds like it.
Yes.
Sounds like it. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. All right. Before we hop off today, what is one piece of advice you want to leave the listeners with? Okay. Dad advice, life advice. I'll give you 7 seconds. Nah, you can have as long as you want to talk about it. Tell me what you got.
My dad died from Alzheimer's, and it was a horrible adjustment for my mom. They lived in a nursing home facility, and one of a friend pastor went to her and said, I want you to, well, I didn't know about it. He said, here are 3 words: acknowledge, accept, and adjust. And so we got there, and on the refrigerator was acknowledge, accept, and adjust. Then it was in the bathroom by the mirror. Then it was in the car. No matter what the world throws to you, it's great if you can be in one of these 3 categories. If you can accept what it is, acknowledge it and make it real, and then decide how to adjust. And you can be in 3 horrible situations where you can't acknowledge, but you're working on the adjust at the other places. And those words have really stayed with me. And when Grayson asked me for a response to this interview with that question, that immediately came to me. I use it all the time. It's a part of my prayer life. It's a part of when things are just going really awful, to be able to just acknowledge it. Yeah, it's there. It's happened. And I hope that helps somebody.
Well, I appreciate it. This has been a great time to talk with you. I continue to learn more and more about the history. Something you guys don't know, we got Jeff and his wife this storybook thing. And guys, we don't have any sponsors. We're not doing any sponsors. My wife found it on Facebook, and we hope that they can put their stories and experiences in this book. They get to write their own book, and it gives them topics and stuff like that. And I was really hoping that this podcast, this interview, would kind of jumpstart that initiative for them to start writing and work through this, because I don't have all the memories. I don't have all the experiences. He does right now. There's going to be something in there that I'm going to be able to get.
Well said. Yeah.
And I just hope that dads and fathers and anybody that could get help from this is able to take something from the podcast, from what we have, and at the end of the day, it moves them on. And if that is today, you needed to know that you have to acknowledge, accept, and adjust, then there it is. So I want to thank you again. It's been a pleasure. Guys, if you haven't...
Thank you so much.
No problem. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe. Whatever channel you're on listening to, make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you'll get notified. We're going to be launching these every Wednesday. That's the goal. Not sure what time on Wednesday. Depends on when they get done. If you fit any of these categories and you want to be on the podcast, guys, we got 9 or 10 people already lined up that we're doing these with. So we are going to continue to grow the audience. It doesn't matter where you're at. You can be in, it doesn't matter, right? I have people from all over the United States on, or that are going to be on the podcast. So there is a link. Make sure you fill it out. If you want to be on it, it's a simple questionnaire. I'll reach out to you. We'll get something recorded. It could be in person if you're local to Columbus, or if you're going to be at one of the events I'm going to be at, or it can be over the air. We can do that. And I'm really excited to continue to share everybody's experiences and their knowledge with the world.
Where do I get the check?
You just ask my wife. She'll make the payment. so
that's funny.
That's funny. Yeah. I hope she's not listening. Anyways. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks again, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday. Have a good one.
Bless you.
What's up, Dad? Hey, Dad. What's up?